Carl Jung went to see a master in India in the 1940s. Jung traveled in those days in ships. It took a few months to reach India. And he went to a place called Tiruvannamalai, where lived a saint called Raman Maharshi. Jung had diarrhea, because in those days, and he was in great deal of pain by the time he arrived there. And then, with all that pain, he just went and sat before this master, who never speaks. He had just a loincloth, and he had only one loincloth. He thought the two was a luxury. So that's the kind of personality he was. He meditated for a long time. He started when he was like 12-year-old, and then he was meditating. Let me tell you what happened to Jung. Jung just went and sat before him. He never talked to him. But then Jung was transformed. And he gave the highest tribute that Jung ever gave to anyone. He is the whitest spot in the white sky. All my questions were answered by his silence. So he used to go and sit in front of thousands of people who would come and see him in India. And he became well known because of the British journalist Paul Brunton, who wrote The Secret India, the book. And he will never speak. Once somebody asked him a question. You always meditate, and we have a problem here. At least particularly, I have a problem here. The problem is, whenever I try to meditate, I have thoughts, and how can I meditate? He usually never answers questions, 99%, or even more, 99.9%. But this time he answered the question. He said, I have problems with thoughts too. And everyone was surprised. You have been meditating for about 60 years, non-stop, full-time, without having any job. And you still have problems with thoughts? Yes, I do. But my problem is another problem. My problem is how to bring a thought into my mind. I have to work really, really hard to pull a thought into my mind. Otherwise, I am fine. So this is the problem he had. I can relate to that. That's why I have decided not to teach. This perhaps is one of the last sessions. Because I had agreed to do that, I just came from India. Otherwise, I would not have come because I didn't want to disappoint. I have disappointed people most of the time, but this time I felt I should come because this is where I have decided to end, speaking, in the end, thinking. Because it takes a long, any thought is foolish because it brings in time, because it brings in linearity, because it brings in ignorance. That's why the greatest teaching is knowledge is the beginning of ignorance. Knowledge is the beginning of ignorance. Because it gives you orientation. Otherwise, you are unbounded. Knowledge is bondage. This is Shiva. Woke him up, a saint, he was sleeping, woke him up and said, knowledge is bondage. Don't embrace knowledge. This is not only just Indian teaching, it is also the teaching in the Bible. That's why God told Adam, don't go and get the fruit of knowledge. And then here comes Satan, used this against God, saying that God is playing politics. How can knowledge be bad? So go eat the fruit of knowledge. And Jung, again, has a great commentary on that. So they took the fruit of knowledge, and as a result, they fell. What was the first experience when they fell? They knew. Adam knew. Before that, he did not know anything at all. All limitations come because of knowledge. That's why he said, don't go and eat the fruit of knowledge, because you are going to be, falling into the trap of linearity, into time. This is not a philosophy. This has to be experienced. You can write books on being in the now, or talk about being in the now. The moment you talk about now or think about now, you are not in the now. The moment you think about now, you are not in the now. You are in the present, the temporal present. The eternal present is something that is beyond any linguistic understanding. Any movement brings time, and that is the problem. Then you are going to lose the paradise. The paradise is the now. And Raman Maharshi lived in that time. That's why he said, to pull a thought into my mind is a very difficult task for me. The Buddha lived that time. That's why he said, the truth is emptiness. There is no activity, no volition. There is no volition at all. And that is effortless. And at that time, what happens then? You have access to a reality in which there is nothing that you cannot do. Then you become really power. Incredible power to do anything, to know anything, to do everything lies in that emptiness. And that emptiness has to be lived. Now I teach not just the traditional yogic or Siddha teachings. I find great, for the past few years at least, I have been into neuroscience. I've been into quantum physics. I spend a lot of my time reading neuroscience and quantum physics. Why? Because I find that it complements and also gives me an opportunity to express things which cannot be expressed by yogic teachings. For instance, in order to experience now, you have to be mindless. Mind should stop. Time should stop, because mind is time. Because I want you to look at a book by David Bohm and J. Krishnamurti. David Bohm is a great physicist from UK. You may have heard about. He's one of the greatest physicists who is interested in understanding time. And he had a book with J. Krishnamurti, a great mystic who lived in India and who was raised here. Actually, his enlightenment happened right here in London. Krishnamurti was playing as a young boy, 12-year-old, on the beach in Chennai. Leadbeater, one of the guys from UK, from London, what happened, he was a psychic and he saw him, and he saw the aura of this boy. Annie Besant was living here at the time. I saw Jesus Christ, the second coming of Jesus Christ. Fly down here, we have to get this boy here and raise him. So they bought the boy from the Indian parents for a huge sum of money and then brought him over to London. And he was raised in London. He was going to be the second coming of Jesus Christ. But as he was growing up in London, he would not go to school, he would not accept any philosophy, whether Hindu or Buddhist or Christian, nothing. He said, it is all just borrowing ideas from other people. And his enlightenment took place right in London. What happened, he was watching somebody in the field, and something happened to him. And he went through an experience he describes as though his brain was completely washed. And he looked everywhere and everything looked the same. There was no difference at all. The reason why I am saying this is, it can happen to anyone, anytime. There is no prerequisite needed because he was not into meditation. So it is as simple as that. So David Bohm, being a physicist, asked him a question about, the book is called Ending Time. How to end time. Why? If you end time, then you will be in the now. It is not difficult at all. It can happen to anyone. It can happen to you while you are riding a bus. So you have to put this idea in your consciousness, not in the mind. I'm going to give you very concrete guidelines here. I don't want to be vague. When the Buddha talks about emptiness, it is a vague term. When you talk about now, it is also very vague. And I'm going to pinpoint to you where you can concentrate and then diffuse the mind. Or what sound you can use and that will diffuse the mind. And only when you diffuse the mind, you can have access to the now. I'm now doing a very important research with Harvard Medical School. I met with the scientists there. That how a single syllable can help you to transcend the mind. A single syllable, which I call as the phoneme. How a phoneme can go into the key areas, like the anterior cingulate, and then create the highest level of intelligence. It is a special neuron called, that's why I like science. But science has limitations too. That's why I want to get beyond that. But then until you get there, science is very important because we have been trained only to use scientific categories right from the beginning. We cannot think of anything beyond that. And that is very useful. I'm not saying that it is not useful, it is useful. But eventually you can have to get into a state of consciousness where even science is only ignorance. It's ignorance. Now, Einstein said, you want to stop time? What did he say? How can we stop time? He had great understanding about time. He was a mystic. That's why he said, where science ends, there religion begins. Religion begins where science ends. He also said, but science has a lame methodology, and it needs religion. Similarly, religion is blind without science. So when we can bring both of them together, then we have a better system. Science without religion is lame, and religion without science is blind, is Einstein. So our religion is blind because it is superstition, mostly superstition. So that we need science to validate it. But what about science? Science is handicapped by logic, and it has to go beyond logic. So Einstein defined a mindlessness, or stopping the mind, by saying when you vibrate at the speed of light, the mind will stop. The clock will stop. And how did he know all these things? He said that whatever I have discovered, I didn't do anything. I didn't even discover them. They came upon me. These are his words. Because of God, I don't know German, but translation, English. They came upon me, not through rational process, but through intuition. So that intuition is within all of us. It's not a learned one. He did not have great physics or mathematics. His teachers called him, one of the teachers, a lazy dog. But with a little knowledge of physics and mathematics, he was able to figure out. Because he was backed up by intuition. That intuition is the now. No, I don't want to talk anymore in abstract terms. I want to give you a very concrete example. I want everybody to live in the now and understand what it is to be in the now. I'm not going to go to Stephen Hawking and talk about history of time. I can if I want to. Nor the philosopher's understanding of time. But time, forget about whatever I have said up until now. I'm going to say everything very concrete from this moment onwards. In this moment, I want to tell you that time has changed. Time has changed for good. We are living at a time that there is hope for humanity. We are doing everything so fast. Our relationship with time is everything. Up until now, we have been insulting time, not using it properly. We have wasted so much time. We were cooking food with, firewood and wasting time. Now we have microwaves. And there is a relationship between time and money. This is a divine law. And the divine law has changed. Everybody works, gets paid for his time. Whether you get paid $8 an hour or $800 an hour or $8,000 an hour, everybody works for his time. What is the divine law behind time? The divine law behind time is time equals money. Time equals money. There is one more. Time equals money equals mind. This is the formula, equation. So if you change your mind, if you make the mind to get beyond its confines and go to timelessness, then unlimited money is possible. I'll give you an example. I said I will talk only in concrete terms. Who is the people who is making most money in the smallest unit of time, say fraction of a second? There are people here all over the world making money in a fraction of a second. Who are those people? Anyone? The Forex traders. High frequency trading. And every Goldman Sachs is into it. And all these people are into it. They are into this rat race. Why? Time has changed. Was this possible like 5 years ago? No. There is still ignorance, but still, our relationship with time is very, very important. If you value your time, everything is possible. But not the time, the chronological clock time. That is also true, but I want you to understand, like the fraction of a second, in the fraction of a second, millions of dollars are being generated because they are now trying to understand what is in the quantum time. Now, this is science. What the yogi is saying. The yogis, if you want to understand about what the mystics, the yogis of India knew about time, just go to Google and see Hindu metrics of time. Hindu time metrics. They were able to see that if you can appreciate 4 millionth division of a second, you are incredibly powerful. 4 millionth of a second. So how did they, even conceive of at this time 4 millionth division of a second? We can live that. But in order to live that, you have to get out of the mind. The mind cannot conceive of a time frame which is the 4 millionth division of a second. How can you get into that division, or the smallest unit of time? And that unit of time is everything. Then you can create everything if you can experience that. Now, compare this with what Neil Bohr has to say, that matter doesn't exist. Everything is just waves. You collapse everything through your own consciousness into matter. And that matter is the particles. The particles. So you have to develop the particle consciousness. And how to develop that? How to develop that consciousness, in which thoughts do not come to you. Thoughts do not come to you. They are still there. And if you can experience that, then sky is the limit. Be still, know that I am God. Bible. Be still. So it's a matter of being still, which means the now. Still, really still. Now, there are a number of techniques which I have not seen in any translated material. The ones that I am giving to you are either revealed to me personally or revealed to other seers, which have remained only in the original, in my language, Tamil, or in Sanskrit. So these are the things that I wanted to share with you. That's why I feel, fulfilled, satisfied, that I am not wasting my time, that I am giving something that has not been revealed yet. Now, what's number one? How is time created? How is mind created? Remember the equation. Time equals mind. And if you want to understand a little bit more about the concept, the book is Ending Time by conversation between Krishnamurti and David Baum. Time equals mind equals matter. Now, in order to make this concept so simple to you, you go to sleep. What happens? Time disappears. This is the first lesson that a guru, an enlightened guru, will teach a guy. The first lesson is, when you go to bed, what happens? Time disappears. Mind disappears. There are dreams, that's another matter. But the conscious mind disappears. Then what else disappears? The world disappears. Somebody asks the question, the world doesn't disappear, only you are sleeping. Then the guru will say, the world is still there. For a person who is up and watching the world, for a person who has gotten rid of his mind, gotten rid of his time, the world disappears. The Buddha also believed in that. The Buddha called, in Buddhism it is called the mind-only philosophy. Chitta matra, which means only the mind exists. When the mind disappears, everything disappears. So when you can make the mind to disappear, the world will disappear, time will disappear. Mind disappears, time disappears, world disappears. And what exists is pure consciousness. And you take that pure consciousness, and with that pure consciousness, you create whatever you want to create. And in order to create, you need to have the mind. This is the model. And this model is proved by quantum physics. First, everything is just waves. And the waves collapse into particles. This is the wave-particle theory. So the yogis were trying to manifest whatever they want to manifest by going into the quantum ground state of no mind. And with that no mind, they figured out that we can create anything that we want to create. And that is the highest condition that one can live. That's why the father of yoga, Patanjali, said in the very first Yoga Sutra, what you have to do is, you have to make the mind to disappear. Yogas chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga means not physical exercise, not gymnastics. It is a matter of stopping the thoughts. It's a matter of, why do you have to stop the thoughts? Then only you know who you are. Why do, the second sutra says, why do I have to stop my thoughts? Then only you will know who you are. That's what Jesus said to the guys. He said, my father is dead, let me go and bury him and come. He said, let the dead bury the dead. Deny thyself and follow me. Deny thyself and follow me. Otherwise you cannot follow me. What is that self? And that is your identity, your thought process, your mind. So how to do that? How to end the mind, how to end time, how to end the material perception or matter. All this can be done by one single exercise. That I'm going to give it to you now. Okay? All these happen in your eyes. The eyes are important. There is a whole treatise called Netra Tantra, which means the book of the eye. The eyeballs are important. The iris is important. The darkness in the eyeballs is important to understand the whole. You don't have to, the reason I wasted time talking about philosophy and science, I could have given you the experience. Okay. Instead of talking about Neil Bohr and Buddha and all this time, mind, matter, sleeping. That's why I find myself so foolish to go and give a big talk. That's why I decided that I should stop teaching. Because if I really wanted to give you an experience, I have to shut up. Completely shut up. And then transmit that silence. Because you are made up of the silence. Because when you sleep, that's what you are experiencing. That's why sleep is so refreshing. Because the Maya, which is the illusion, disappears. This hall is an illusion. So when Einstein was told about this philosophy, he said, I understand this scientifically, the Hindu philosophy of illusion. But he said, but it is a persistent illusion. It's a beautiful word. It is a persistent illusion. I don't see anything else but this. Why? Because he was in his mind. When the mind disappears, the building will disappear. That happens in the sleep. But what happens in the sleep, we lose everything. So if you are sleeping here in this hall, the hall will not be there. The hall is there, but the mind is not there. Since the mind is not there, you cannot see anything. So what creates this illusion is the darkness in the eye. That's why when you become totally enlightened people are very rare. There are levels of enlightenment. People go up to regulate their thoughts. They have fewer thoughts. And that's one level. But if you're totally enlightened, at that time, the body will turn into light. Because that is your reality. It makes sense because that's what Einstein said, His definition of matter is light stopped. We have stopped light. As a result, we have this mound of flesh. This mound of flesh is a reality at one level. And we take that reality as something real, which is not real. And that how did it happen? It happened because of this creation of matter, of material consciousness. So if you get rid of this material consciousness, then you fall back into that light. Now let me stop here and we'll give you the experience. Close your eyes. I'm going to be saying something, and these are meaningful to you, to your mind, to your soul. Your soul is beyond your mind, It is the now. It is pure consciousness. The mind is polluted consciousness. The mind is polluted by understanding. The soul is free of any understanding. Now both the soul and the mind are intertwined. You cannot separate them. And I'm going to help you how to separate them. I want to thank those beings who gave me this knowledge. Before I give it to you, I'm very grateful for this highest teaching. Put your attention on your right eye. Put your attention now on the right eyeball. Your mind, which is your memory, linguistic consciousness, understanding, are intertwined with the soul, which is free of any understanding. Where are they? They are in the eyes, in the eyeball. Just focus attention on the right eyeball. The moment you put your attention on the right eyeball, you are focusing attention on the mind as well as the soul. Now, look at the eyeball. Put your attention on the eyeball. Just look at your black eyeball or a blue eyeball, whatever color you have. Go deep into that eyeball and the color. Whether it is blue or black, just visualize them as darkness. A miracle will happen as you focus in terms of your consciousness. The yogi goes and looks at his eyeball, keeps focusing on the eyeball and the darkness inside. Keep focusing attention. As you are focusing attention, what happens is there are changes that take place in the left brain because the right eye is contralaterally wired to the left brain, and also attention goes to the right brain as well. So you are not only focusing attention on the eyeball and the darkness. While you are doing that, you are understanding your brain, the content in the brain. At the back of the head, the brain, is the visual cortex called the occipital lobe. The neurons there fire too. Why am I doing this exercise? We are doing this exercise to get you beyond the mind so that you can experience a quiet condition. Now, switch your attention to the left eyeball. It will take some time to shift it. Put your attention on the left eyeball. See the darkness inside the eyeball. See the darkness, focus our attention on the darkness within the left eyeball. As I said, when you are focusing attention, you are also creating neuronal firing in the right brain as well as the left brain. Also in the occipital lobe, which is at the back of the brain, the visual cortex. Through this exercise, what we are doing is we are interfering with our normal mind consciousness. Now focus attention on both eyes, the both eyeballs. They are involved in creating mind, the eyeballs. The Western science has some understanding. They talk about REM, rapid eye movement. Let's not get into that. Just focus attention on the two eyeballs and the darkness within the eyeball. The yogis say that the darkness creates thoughts, create the mind, create time, create matter. A great discovery. Gather all your energy and focus attention on the darkness in the two eyeballs and make time to disappear, mind to disappear, matter to disappear. Now come back to the right eyeball. Look at the eyeball and the darkness inside. By using my own willpower and sankalpa, sankalpa is a Sanskrit word, which is a perfect non-mind thought. I'm going to use a non-mind thought. And that thought is a light that I'm going to send into your right eyeball by my own willpower, intention, sankalpa. Receive that light that enters your right eyeball and make the darkness in the right eyeball to disappear. Then what is in the right eye? Just white, brilliant, illuminating light like a laser beam. There is a laser beam of incredible power, illumination in the right eye. The mind disappears. Time has disappeared. Matter has disappeared. The yogi lives in this consciousness of no time, no mind, no matter. Now move to the left eye. Focus attention on the darkness in the left eyeball. What does the darkness do? It creates time, thoughts, mind, and matter, which is illusion. All these are illusions. Mind is an illusion, time is an illusion, matter is an illusion. Just keep focusing attention on the darkness within the left eyeball. Now, by using my own willpower, intention, and sankalpa, which is free of the pollution of the mind and thought, I'm going to use this willpower of mine, intention of mine, and send you a light into your left eyeball. Receive it. It goes and strikes the left eyeball, the darkness disappears. Time disappears. mind disappears. Content disappears. Now, what is in the left eye? There is no darkness, no mind, no time, no matter. There is a laser beam of light fills the left eye. Now, both eyes together. The eyeballs have disappeared. In that place, what remains is just laser beam, two laser beam of light. Now these two laser beams of light come together and meet right above the nose and goes into your pituitary gland. This is not the third eye. The third eye is above it. I'm not going to go into that now. See a bright light, laser beam light in between the two eyebrows corresponding to the pituitary gland. Now, relax. Don't come back to yourself quickly. Just take your time. Slowly, slowly come back to yourself and open your eyes. So when you see there is no content in your eyes, this is only what I have done is only like 5% of the technique. I have not talked to you where the mind comes from, the space. And I have not even gone into, we went to the pituitary gland, which is here. We never went here, which is the pineal gland. The yogi doesn't want to talk about anything but experience this. When there is no darkness, there is no content, when the eyes are full of light. Jesus talks about his sight, the eyes becoming full of light. When the two eyes become one. Paramahamsa Yogananda, who wrote the autobiography of a yogi, has published 2 volumes on Jesus, where he says that Jesus learned all these things in India. The mission of Jesus is a mission of miracles. He did not give long lectures. He touched people and healed them. His mission, his ministry was a ministry of miracle. What was Jesus doing here? What was his mission? The truth of the matter is, whether you believe it or not, you have tremendous amount of power located in your eyes. The eyes create this world. That's why when the eyes are closed, the world is not there. So the yogi wanted to know, then there must be something in the eyes. Because the eyes are creating this world. And how do they create? So they went deep into it. And then they was able to find how from energy arises matter. The energy is the light in the eyes, and the matter is the darkness in the eyes. That's the discovery. I have crammed a lot of information in a single meditation, but not, but I wanted to give this to you. So what is the use of it? The use of it is, for the first time you will experience the non-mind, the timelessness, and its relationship with matter. As you begin to do this practice over and over again, you will have thought manifestation, being in the now. I call it as nowization. You have to nowize the mind. Nowize the eyeball. Then you don't have to give lectures. Giving lectures is just a waste of time. There was a friend of mine when I was doing my PhD at the University of Pittsburgh. Many of my colleagues just went and took jobs because most of them were Christian ministers. And one guy invited me to come to his church. And I went there. And there was a guy called Emerson, who in New England, Boston. And he said, So I went to give a talk on Eastern mysticism. So as I entered there was a saying by Emerson: you should go to the church when the priest is not there. You should go to the church when the priest is not there. Then you will have a beautiful experience. So as I went to the podium and I said, hey Peter, can I talk about this the whole session? Because this is the most important message. You don't need any interpretation. You need an experience. You can talk about now. Then the moment you talk about now, you lose the now. You have to lose the mind in order to experience the now. You lose the mind when you are sleeping, but then your consciousness is gone. But you have to maintain the consciousness, the witness consciousness. Just like when Jung went to meet Raman Maharshi, he said, I have difficult time to get a thought. So you can live without a thought then. Then when you live without a thought, then what happens? You have no knowledge, but you have wisdom. So what happens when you have wisdom? In wisdom, you understand that what Plato said, the idea and the object are one and the same. The idea or ideation is really the object. So what does it mean? You gain the ability to manifest your thoughts, thought manifestation. Then you think a thought and then it manifests. And that's how creation took place. How did God create this world? Let there be light, let there be animals, let there be birds, let there be the moon, let there be the sun. What's that? That's thought becoming object. And how can you do that? Because the Bible says again, God created man in his own image. If God looked like someone, he'll look like us. He did not deny anything. So you have that power within us. That's what Jesus said when he said the kingdom is within, not without. Don't think I have come here to take anybody's kingdom. I'm not talking about geographical kingdom. I'm talking about the kingdom is within. So this is a great message. Great message, because you don't need a PhD, you don't need an MD, you don't need an FRCS or whatever here, to be successful. You can be successful by virtue of your own soul, by the power of your own soul, not the mind. So the only true education that there is the education of your own higher self. That's why the first Yoga Sutra, the father of yoga says, stop the mind. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Don't allow the mind to, vrit means to expand. Don't allow the mind to expand. Then you are losing your power. You are losing your power. Vrit means to expand. Don't expand it. Stop it. And then you fall back to your own self. So it is not about academic training or technology training. We all have, the civilization has gone in the wrong direction. We have gone more and more and more into material existence. And that is the problem of our own education system. I'll tell you, once you know this power, and once you experience this power, then you will know that how life is, how easy it is to be successful even in the material world, because matter is mind transformed, mind over matter. Then you will really, really experience mind over matter. It is the mind that collapses everything. The supermind collapses everything into matter. That's why Niels Bohr said, matter doesn't exist. The potential of matter exists, and you collapse it. And how you collapse it is what matters. I don't think I'm going to go into that. I want to invite you to another day. I have agreed to be here to do an exclusive seminar, and I will say there I'm going to talk about how you collapse prosperity into existence, how you collapse poverty into existence. See, the yogis say it very clearly. Poverty or prosperity are not given to you by others. It's a great saying. Poverty and prosperity are not given to others. Health or illness are not given to you by others. You give it to yourself. By collapsing that reality from inside out. So I will talk about it from the perspective of light becoming matter, mind creating mind. So I want to, because this, is because more and more as I begin to evolve, I find that the time spent in giving lectures is a waste of time. I have to give you only an experience. So this I told Wayne Dyer, because he used to give long lectures, and I told him, all that is needed is just one syllable, the sound ah. His book is called Manifest Your Destiny, how you can create your own destiny. 15 years later, he again wrote a chapter. I have not even looked at the book. I clearly see now, at the age of 75 or so, what this man has told me about manifestation. So, in my own life, I'll tell you, I see my own understanding changes every second. If I have to make this presentation, I will do a different one. That's why I am not interested in writing books, because it will be a dead matter. There's a tremendous amount of material now available. Over a period of 20 years, there are stacks and stacks of video cassettes. And then they asked me if they can release it. No, because that's dead. So I don't want to be responsible whatever I said when I was ignorant. And people, my staff say it is difficult to market you because you go on saying that whatever you have said is not useful and waste. And here I have brought some videos which you produced a long time ago. Now I cannot sell them. That's what is happening in her mind who is here. But still I must say, whatever I have said, I have a company on astrology, Astrowade, some of you may know that. And I told them, you do this thing. In 1998, if you follow this, this company will become a Google. And they never did. 1998 now, somebody is interested in Silicon Valley, in the company as it is now. They come and then, can we buy this company? And I told them, not now. Why you didn't do that? So wait. Now at least after how many years? Do it now. Because you cannot worry about that moment has not gone. That is gone and this is now. This is a better moment. Don't lament over the life that has been spent when, we were in ignorance. Every second is new. I like Richard Branson. I call it as Richard Branson Yoga. One book, if you have to read one book, only one book, by two authors, one American, that is Conrad Hilton. If you stay in a Hilton hotel, read a book called Be My Guest. It's free. And how he created this empire. And I want to say this because I am speaking it in London. He wanted to buy a hotel owned by the Queen of England, Conrad Hilton. When he was a paper boy, he had no money, 8 kids in the family, nothing. Oh my God. He saw that Waldorf Astoria, there's the hotel. I want this hotel. When he was a boy, I need to have that. To make a long story short, you can read the rest of it in the book. I want this hotel. He put the newspaper cutting and put it on his reading desk, which he did not have because there was no money for a reading desk. She managed it and then put it on the desk. 7 years later, he had the opportunity to build the first Hilton hotel. Thousands of Hilton hotels, but still the Waldorf Astoria was not his. One day, he flew in his private jet to see the Queen with a blank check. I want this hotel. The Queen said, "Oh, you're interested in the hotel? But I can sell it to you. But give me the market price." There I want you to read 2 chapters. Everyone should have a dream. 1 chapter. The 2nd chapter, the sky is the limit. The 2 chapters, about mostly 30 pages or 25 pages together. Then Richard Branson, in recent time he's living. And people asked him, "Mr. Branson, how did you become owner of 400 companies or so?" "It's easy," he said. "What? It is easy to have 300-400 companies?" "Yes." "How? What is the secret of your success?" Why am I talking about it? Because it has relevance to my topic, which is noveization. He said in that book, it's only 80 pages, 90 pages, "Screw it, let us do it." That's the name of the book. Okay. He's a controversial guy. Screw it, let's do it. In that book he says, in my personal life, as well as professional life, every second counts. Literally, every second counts. I value every second. So what made him to make this announcement about second? Did he live the second? Yes, he lives. He lives the second. What does that mean? Living the second means he lives the non-mind. He lives timelessness. He lives the now. And it is my intention that everybody should live the now. That is God's gift given to us. It's not academic training that is needed, because the academics are still in their head. They're analytical. Analysis is paralysis. You keep on analyzing it forever till you drop dead. If you want to succeed, you have to get beyond the mind. You have to get beyond time. You have to live in the now. The last course I am doing is a 1-year program called the Ultimate Teaching. And I told them there is no syllabus for that. Because if I give you syllabus, then I will have to give you the old teaching. For 1 year, I have told this is my last year of teaching. After that, I want to experience another reality and play a different role for humanity. There is no syllabus. Because if I give a syllabus, I will be conditioned by this time and the old knowledge. Time is moving very, very fast. The good news is humanity is going to see tremendous amount of light coming into this planet. It already has started happening. There is great opportunity for spiritual people to perform. Spiritual people usually never perform. They are busy going to seminars and workshops and reading books. That's why I tell the people, don't read any books, please. Practice. Look at the eyeballs. Look at the darkness in the eyeballs and understand time. Look at the eyeballs and understand matter. And look at the eyeballs and understand the now. And this will do, if I have the choice, if I had just told you one thing, all that you have to know is focus on the eyeball. Then you will know about time, you will know about matter, you will know about the wisdom. That will take 1 minute. I'm done.